The COVID-19 pandemic hit refugees and migrant communities around the world very hard. In South Africa, many are unable to earn a living. They're not on government aid lists for financial aid or food parcels. Mthandazo Ndlovu is the governance coordinator at the charity Oxfam in South Africa. Joins me now. Mthandazo, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. What kind of position are these people now in? It sounds very, very precarious and difficult.
Thank you, and good evening, Stephen, and to your viewers. Yes, indeed, the COVID-19 situation and its impact poses the greatest challenge to millions of people, especially those living in the informal settlements, and more so to the non-nationals and refugees and migrants living in South Africa.
What kind of help are these people receiving? If they're not getting anything from government, is anyone helping them? Are you able to help them?
Well, in terms of the Constitution, I think Section 2627 provides an imperative to provide food to people in the right quantities. So the right to food is a guaranteed constitutional imperative. As we have heard from the Department of Social Development, that some registered migrants and refugees are also eligible to register, but we know that there is over 4 million non-nationals and migrants living in South Africa, and most of them are illegally, and that poses a challenge in terms of them being able to access food. And also, of course, the reality of the matter is that most of them are in precarious situations. They work in the informal settlements. That on its own is a major challenge. And of course, as we heard from the Human Sciences Research Council, that over 55% of people living in informal settlements are unable to afford food, and I think plus or minus 66% are on the verge of getting hungry. And this is in addition to the reality that we already have plus or minus 6.7 or 6.8 million people that are facing hunger on a day-to-day basis, and that figure may double as we kind of know that in the informal settlements, which also have plus or minus 6.7 or so people living on informal settlement. That on its own is a major challenge in terms of accessing food and then their right to security, but also the right to earn a livelihood has been severely impaired and impacted upon by this crisis.
Mthandazo, I mean, you can imagine the argument. If our government says publicly it's going to give food to foreign nationals, some of whom the government will say did not go through the proper procedures to come here, there are going to be many people in South Africa who will feel our government shouldn't actually give them food when so many South Africans are without food. And what I'm talking about is the fear of xenophobia.
Well, the hunger has no jurisdiction and has no borders, and as I say, that Section 27 of the Constitution guarantees the right to food. The government has that imperative and responsibility to care. But of course, broadly thinking, one would have hoped that the burden to share this responsibility is also shouldered by the regional governments and infrastructure. There is this reality that, of course, with the lockdown, borders have been closed, and that severely impacts on the movement of goods and commodities. As much as they say borders are open for commerce, but we know that majority of the people live work in the informal sectors, and they do send remittances and food supplies through informal structures. So at a regional level, there is also that looming crisis of hunger, because there are no supplies from South Africa. Even at a global level, we access or import some of our agricultural products from countries such as China, Argentina, and even Eswatini, a neighboring country, supplies us with sugar. So I think the issue of migrants and non-nationals living in South Africa must be considered within the constitutional obligations, and there are a number of other various global and UN instruments which South Africa is a signatory to. But that does not suggest that the other regional countries and structures mustn't play their role. Yeah.
Mthandazo Ndlovu from Oxfam, do appreciate the time. Thank you.